So I am actually coming on about a minute early. I just want to give everyone time to kind of see that I'm on. Hey girl, I'm so excited that you decided to join. Hey. We're just going to wait for a little bit. Hey cousin, I'm so excited that you decided to join. Hey Kita, I'm so excited you decided to join. I'm just going to wait for a couple more seconds. I know that people have responded to my lives later and said, oh my gosh, I forgot. So I'm just going to wait for a little bit longer. Hopefully you guys have a little bit of a moment to kind of pause and wait for a second. So we'll just wait for a little bit more. Hey girl. Hey Rumi. Hi girl. As you can see, we're in a different location. I'm not in my car. Praise. That means that I'm actually sitting still for a sec, which is phenomenal. So we'll start in about another 20 or 30 seconds. I hope y'all's week has been great. It's Tuesday, which happens to be my roommate's favorite day of the week. Random, right? Most people like a Thursday or a Friday. She loves Tuesdays, so that's fun. Anyways, well, we will go ahead and get started. So today, I am coming to you guys with Moments with Drea Nicole and lunchtime lessons to talk about stories. So stories are powerful. On average, in our Western society in America, we spend 5 hours a day watching TV. And if you stream like Hulu, Netflix, all of those sites, you actually are probably going to be spending more time than 5 hours a day. And stories are important because it's how we come to know the world around us. And then it's also how we are actually influenced in our day-to-day lives. So when we think about how it functions as a society, we think about ads, we think about marketing. I even think about Steve Jobs and I think about Apple. The reason why I have an Apple product is not necessarily because I think that they're just a superior product, but more so because I believed in the story that he sold. He told a story that resonated with me, and I wanted to jump alongside and be a part of that story as well. And so when we think also about Steven Spielberg, he tells phenomenal stories. That's why he is one of the most known directors of our age. Or even if we think about this year, the number one box office movie is Beauty and the Beast. $504 million that movie made. And that's a lot of money. And so we love stories. It's apparent. We spend our money, we spend our time and our energy investing in stories. But what I've come to notice is I don't think that we enjoy our own personal stories the same way that we enjoy engaging in fictional stories, which your story is powerful. Understanding your story is important. And so when we think about our own narratives, a lot of times that's what holds the key to unlocking another dimension of understanding ourselves. And there's two filters that I kind of look at how I can understand my own story. The first being, how am I now? What are the thoughts that I find myself kind of wrestling with now? Or what are the actions that I find myself continuing to do or perpetuate now? And then also the filter of, how did I grow up? So the first filter being, how am I now? And then you couple it with that filter of, how did I grow up? What happened to me? And when you have both of those filters together, it helps you to understand your own story, your own narrative. And so why that's important, and I do have notes, so if you see me looking down, I am reading those because I want to make sure that I actually get across the point that I'm trying to portray, is that for me, I found myself hitting a series of walls, metaphorical walls of habits or patterns, and I was trying to understand, why am I continuing to do the same things? And a lot of it had to do with my lack of understanding of my own personal narrative. And so my childhood, my parents' childhood, all those things come into play because we are affected by the product of where we were raised in, our environment, our experience, our story. And you're affected by those things. And so for me, it took me understanding my story for me to understand how I can correct some of those things that I've been involved with, or generational things that I might have not known that were happening to me. And so the reason why I say that is because I think nowadays we have this huge phrase, which I love this phrase and I use it too, but it says be you. And I love that, but I think that is not, it's a lofty phrase. It's not understood. When somebody tells you to be you, you're like, oh, okay, I think liking this person's Instagram or copying what they do or kind of saying what they say is me, because I feel like I understand them and that's a part of me. But I think the piece that's missing is the understanding of how to be you. How do you understand how to be you? To spend time understanding you. And that is through understanding your own personal narrative and understanding your own personal story. So I think too, especially when it comes to story, we find that we want the story to end. So it's nice because movies end, right? The binge watching that you have on Netflix, it ends. You get to say, whew, that was a good season, or man, that was a good series, or whatever, a great movie, and it ends. But our life, as we know, does not just end. It doesn't just stop. Our stories, our narratives are always evolving. So there's always that need to continue to go back and try to understand our narrative. And so my desire, which is really the foundation of why I started doing Moments with Drea Nicole, and then why I'm continuing to just develop my website and blog and things like that. And so 2018 is going to be a good year. It's going to be a big year, but is because I see the need to continue on the process of understanding our story. And we are conquerors, not necessarily because we just fix everything that happens all in one bubble, all in one moment, but we are conquerors because we are constantly overcoming and understanding our stories. So it's a continual process. I know this is a little bit lengthy as far as what normally I say on lunchtime lessons, but I'm really passionate about this. And so just understanding our story and continuing to understand our own stories is what helps us to conquer those things that we are struggling with, whether it's internal or whether it's external, which it's all the fruit of your story, the root of how you were raised, your experiences, and just the truth about ourselves. And the truth is the hardest truth to face, is the truth about yourself. So if I can encourage you guys in any way this week, is to just sit down and make just kind of a timeline of what's happened to you, or events in your life that you can kind of remember. And then to process those through a filter of how does that affect me now, based upon what has happened to me then. So anyways, thanks so much for joining. Please share, like, everything else, and just stay tuned because it's just the beginning.